Happy to be joined by Grant Dawson. It's his first main event this Saturday, yourself against Bobby Green, at least in the UFC. I'm sure you main evented probably on the regional scene back in the day. Is that correct?
Yeah, I've had a couple of main events on the regional scene. I've been scheduled for 5 rounds before. I've never actually fought 5 rounds before because I was able to get the finish. But yeah, this is nothing new to me. I'm ready to go, man.
So I was watching a couple interviews of yours where you talked about how you had sent Bobby Green a message back in the day when, like, you before you had become a fighter. I don't know if you were amateur at the time, and I went on Facebook to try to find the screen grab, and I had to go through a lot of kind of teenage angsty stuff in your world in like 2013, 2014. Learned a little bit about you, but it was kind of fascinating to kind of see where you were at in your life at that point in time.
Well, this just means I need to go through my Facebook and delete everything because that's just horrible, dude. I used to be such an angsty teenager. I think we all go through that phase. It might have hit me a little bit harder than everybody else, but it is what it is. I'm here now. I'm a grown up now. Whatever.
It was the same with me when I was there. I mean, lots of song lyrics, lots of teenage heartbreak, lots. Although you had a really interesting one. I guess it was probably in 2014 where you had found out that I guess you had a son at the time, and you found out it wasn't your son. I mean, what happened there?
So basically, when I was a senior in high school, the girl that I was dating at the time, uh, she, I was a senior. She was a freshman in college, and she basically broke up with me because she was going to college and wanted to live the college life. Calls me up a couple of months later and is like, "Hey, I'm pregnant," and I'm like, "Oh, well, that sucks." And then she was like, "Yeah, the doctors say that." What did she say? She said the doctors say that the time like of conception is around when we were together. So had to go through that pretty much my entire senior year, thinking that I was going to be a dad. I didn't do a lot of the extra, you know what I'm trying to say, the extra programs in high school because I thought I was going to be a dad, so I wanted to like work. I still did wrestling, thank God. And then once I graduated high school, the baby was born. We got a DNA test, and it was not mine. And then she basically told me, "Yeah, I cheated on you before I went to college."
So, but at the time, you thought that you had been the father of this child. So, how long did that drag on for before you realized that this wasn't your child? Did the child like resemble you at all, or what kind of tipped you off?
Well, I honestly wasn't, and this is why you should listen to your parents. I honestly wasn't going to get a paternity test, and my dad like forced me to get one, and thank God he did because we could have been in a really bad spot if I didn't.
And I'm guessing you're not still in touch with this I guess now young man because he was probably a baby at the time.
Yeah, no, dude, I knew that kid for 2 weeks. Like he doesn't even know I exist. Like it's fine.
Well, that's great. I mean, it's a lot of turmoil to go through as I guess an 18-year-old kid at the time.
I will say it did help me grow up a lot, and I got a lot closer with my mom and dad in that time period. So I think there was a blessing in there, and I was fighting in high school, so it was it was I don't know how to say this. I had this moment where it was like this is probably going to ruin my MMA career. And I was like, no, screw that. I'm gonna figure this out. I want to be a fighter so bad. Like I'm gonna be in this kid's life. Obviously, if he's mine, I'm gonna be in this kid's life. But I need to figure out how to do both. And then when it turned out he wasn't mine, it was a real good eye opener that this is something that I want to do for the rest of my life is fighting.
All right, so I'm going to give you some Grant Dawson 2014 trivia. Who were your two favorite UFC fighters at the time? Do you remember?
Probably, let's see, 2014, probably maybe RDA and GS, RDA. I'm not sure. RDA, and I'm going to say, let's go Chael Sonnen.
Well, you had like you had the two that at least I thought it was at one point. So you were going to say GSP and Chael Sonnen. The GSP and Chael Sonnen were the two that you were posting about very frequently at that point in time.
Yeah, Chael Sonnen. I grew up on Chael Sonnen, man. And being the main event, I was kind of hoping he was going to do a video about me, but apparently not.
And also in 2014, there was a great post that you made saying, I just got off the phone with the UFC lightweight James Krause. I think this guy and I are going to be best friends. And I mean, you ended up training with the guy for like six years or so after that.
I actually trained. I trained with him for 8 years, but that was so. What had happened was my manager called me at the time and was like, "Hey, do you want to move to Missouri to train with James Krause? He's kind of an up and coming gym. He's getting a little bit bigger, and I think that he would be a really good fit for you." And so me and him got on the phone. We talked for a bit, and that's when I decided to move up and train with him. And I was new to not new. I shouldn't say new, but like I didn't understand Facebook and social media. So anything that happened in my life, I wanted to post about.
Yeah, it got to a point where I was scrolling down and it stopped scrolling. It was like April or something, and I had to wait for it to like kind of catch up. But yeah, yeah, again, a lot of teens. You might want to go back and look and see what you want still in there. So, in terms of your relationship with James Krause, I mean, you trained with him for some time, but it seemed like at some point in time you decided to move on. What happened there? Why did you decide to leave? Obviously, it was before all of the fallout surrounding James. You were kind of got ahead of it, but what exactly was the catalyst for you moving to Florida?
Man, the biggest thing was I knew I needed to make a change because there wasn't anybody at the gym that could really push me. I mean, we had good guys, but it wasn't world championship level training partners. So I knew I needed to make a change. I fought Leonardo Santos, and it was a very close fight, and it was a very unlike myself fight. And I bonused at the end because I knocked him out with 1 second left. And I knew in my heart that I needed to use that bonus to move to a bigger gym. I didn't know Florida at the time, but move to a bigger gym and have better training partners. But I decided to do the safe thing. I bought a house. And then my very next fight, I went to a draw with Ricky Glenn, who I was a minus 550 favorite against. And that was the straw that broke the camel's back, where it's like, okay, dude, if you are truly serious about becoming a world champion, you cannot train in Missouri anymore. You have to go get those higher level looks. And so my wife and I packed up. It was about an hour-long conversation we had. She supported me the whole way. We packed up, moved to Florida, and been training at American Top Team.
And you're kind of lucky. I mean, your wife Elle is a fighter, so she kind of knows where it's like, well, the dream is really the priority right now for both of you. So she, I'm sure, understood and just kind of picked up and left with you.
Yeah, I think the biggest advantage that I have in MMA right now is a wife that supports me in everything and understands what I'm going through because she's a fighter. She's also a nutritionist as well, and she can cook like nobody's business. So like I just literally shot way out of my league and got super lucky to be able to bag a woman like her.
Well, it's great to see that you have that kind of a support system around you. Do you still talk to James at all? Like, was it kind of a clean break, and you just kind of took off, went to Florida, and didn't look back, or do you and him still chat from time to time?
No, we don't talk.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll move on from there. American Top Team. You look at the guys in the room that you are able to train with. You got like Moicano, Sarukian. I mean, these guys are all in your weight class, but at the same time, it seems like there's a bit of a bottleneck at the top of the lightweight division right now. A lot of kind of older guys that are very selective about who they want to fight. Is that something that you believe is hindering your career right now?
No, I don't think so. I think the biggest part for me right now is to just focus on what's in front of me. We can't worry about things that might be. We can only worry about things that are. And when it comes to how many guys we have in the top 15, we have so many guys in the top 15, so many guys outside the top 15, and you can't have everything, right? So if you want to be at a good gym with world-class guys, you can't also be in a gym with world-class guys that aren't going to be in your weight class, aren't going to be competing for the same thing that you're competing for. So far, we've done a really good job of navigating kind of around that to where I don't have to fight any of my friends or teammates. There's a select few of guys that I absolutely will not fight no matter what the circumstances are. And then there's a couple of guys that, you know, if it's life-changing money and it's world championship stuff on the line, if they're good with it, I'm good with it. So it's just one of those things where you really got to kind of pick and choose your battles here. And I think the biggest thing that I have out of this is the high-level training partners have made me so much better. So having to worry about maybe fighting them someday is a fair trade.
Who are the guys on the no-fly list where under no circumstances are you fighting those guys?
Thiago Moises, probably Moicano, and Dustin Poirier.
So those are the guys that you're getting the most rounds in with the gym, or just also, I guess, I mean, Poirier is not there year round, but guys that you're just so close with that you just couldn't see yourself fighting them?
Moicano and Moises have been a really big part of me getting better to the point to where I'm at. If I didn't have them as training partners, I think that I would not be as good as I am now. And I think I'm going to continue to get better training with them. So it's more important for me to be able to keep that relationship and train with these guys to be able to get better every single day than whatever the show money is the show and win money is to ruin that type of relationship. When it comes to Dustin Poirier, there's a couple of things. One, I'm just a huge fan of the guy. He's been nothing but incredibly helpful to me and great training partner, great sparring partner, great drilling partner. And it just doesn't, like, I don't do anything for Dustin Poirier, and I don't think that Dustin Poirier does really anything for me, in the sense of, like, people aren't banging down the door to see me and Dustin Poirier fight. Like, nobody really wants to see that fight. They want to see him go out there and fight guys like Justin Gaethje and Fiziev and those bangers out there. So it really just doesn't make any sense for us to fight. And the other big thing is every single one of my cornermen are also his cornermen. So we're just gonna, like, take that one off the table. It doesn't help either of us, and I really respect the dude and enjoy training with him.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where by the time you get to like the top 3, top 4, he's probably going to be retired, I'd imagine, by that point in time. Not that it's going to take you that long, but it also seems like Dustin probably has 2 or 3 fights left in him.
Yeah, I would say that I don't know. Dustin can do whatever it is Dustin wants to do. I know that dude has made so much stinking money in his career, and he's got so many good businesses going on. He's such an intelligent guy. I've seen his house on Instagram. It's absolutely gorgeous. So whenever he's ready to be done, like, Godspeed. If he wants to hang around for another 10 years, I'm going to tune into every fight.
Not to mention the hot sauce is fantastic. I mean, the Poirier Heartbeat hot sauce, they make a good product.
I think that's the biggest thing that makes me not want to fight him, because every time he comes to the gym, he brings me more hot sauce. So I think, like, not being able to get my daily or my monthly supply of hot sauce, I think that's why it's a no-go.
The Creole maple is like a game changer. I put that on my eggs all the time. It's awesome.
I don't think I've tried that one. I've got the original, and then the super hot sauce. I can't remember what it's called. It's like
the KO sauce.
Really,
yeah,
that's what KO sauce. So he hands it to me, and he says, "Hey, be careful." And I was like, "Yeah, for sure." He's like, "No. Be careful." I was like, "Okay, cool." So I take it home, and I was like, "Hey, babe, like, Dustin gave us some more hot sauce. Let's try it out." And she's like, "Okay, cool." And I was like, "Hey, he said, like, be careful with it because it's crazy hot." So I just put a little tiny bit on my food. I was like, "Here you go." And she was like, just starts dumping it. And I was like, "Babe, like, he said be careful." And she's like, I love hot sauce. I'm going to be fine." She took 2 bites, had to throw it away because it was just so strong. Like, oh my goodness. It was delicious for sure, but it was just so hot. She had to throw the food away and make her a new bowl, and then put it on a little bit lighter.
I've got the KO. I haven't opened it yet, but I've got the KO sauce waiting to be tried. But the Creole maple, I think, is, yeah. I will be careful, but
be careful.
My advice to you is to try the Creole maple, because that's a game changer.
Done. Whatever, dude. I'm so hungry right now, and there's so much sodium in it. That's all I want right now is salt. I understand why wars were fought over salt.
Yeah, I think that's a product of weight cutting. You can almost envision, once it gets to a certain part in the weight cut, you can envision the wars in your head because your mind is just spinning.
Yeah. Oh, I'd be on the battlefield. I'd be front lines. Let's go. Give me some sodium.
All right, great. Well, that battle is ahead, and then of course you guys are battle with Bobby Green this Saturday in the main event. Best of luck to you, and a pleasure catching up.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you, and also thank you for letting me know that I need to go back into my Facebook and delete some